Hi, welcome to JJ's Productions. We've got another Stoke City vlogcast. With me as always is Jan. How are you doing?
I'm fine and dandy, thanks Josh. Hi folks, hope you're all okay. Now, I've got to hold my hands up and I went with a 1-5 result on Saturday. In my head, I did it on purpose. I was trying to, not put the mockers on them. So I thought if I go with a loss, they'd win. Because I've never gone that way before, as you all know. But I thought, I'll go with 5-1 to Leeds. And it worked.
So forget Nathan Jones and his marvellous tactics, thank Mother for actually putting the mockers on him for a change. So, yeah.
So it was me. Yay!
Well, I've got to admit, I think everyone is delighted with the performance and the result from the Stoke team on Saturday. It was a complete surprise in some regards. I think we were anticipating something, but not something as good as what we got.
Well, put it this way, my head wasn't in the oven at 10 to 5.
It's felt like that for most of the season, it's got to be said. Now, I did promise something last week, which was after the Brentford game, I did some stats, and I said I was going to come back to them this week. So, if anything, I want to just do some comparisons just for these opening weeks of Nathan Jones' time, just to see if we are improving under him. So, I'm here again, so just put up with me for about 2-3 minutes and then we're done. Okay, so under Rowett in his last game against Bristol City, Jules won. We won 55, sorry, can't read my own handwriting here. After that, we went to Brentford and we only won 24 duels. But against Leeds at home, we went up again to 56. So we had a nice increase against Leeds. It's as if we actually became more defensively solid when you just look at that stat alone. Just moving on to possession though. Against Bristol City, we did have the lion's share of 65%, even though we did lose the game. Against Brentford, we conceded more possession and lost the game with 46%. And against Leeds, we pretty much didn't have the ball at 29%, but we won. Okay, so going on to shots, because these next two ones are the bread and butter of this part I'm doing. So against Bristol City, we lost, but we had 17 shots, 8 on target. Against Brentford, we lost, but we had 2 shots, 1 on target. And then against Leeds, we had 12 shots, 5 on target. Now, I don't know about you, love, but I'm looking at them stats and I'm thinking, against Bristol, we had the lion's share of possession and we had a fair number of shots. Against Brentford, we sort of 50-50, or close to, obviously, for Brentford, but we didn't get a shot off barely. And against Leeds, we actually conceded a lot of possession, but we created more chances. So for me, that is promising that even if we are conceding the ball, we are actually still doing stuff with it when we have the ball. And this is where more encouragement comes with the passing stats. So in Rowett's last game, the number of backwards passes was 64, the sideways passes 247, and the forward passes 189. So we were passing sideways and forward, oddly enough, more than backwards in that game, which is one of Rowett's criticisms. So I found that interesting last time. Moving on to the Brentford game, though. We did pass back at 79 times, we passed sideways 176 times, and we passed forward 173 times. So pretty much still the same. We were passing sideways and back more than forwards. Sorry, sideways and forwards more than back. Gotta get them ones clear. Okay, finally, we're getting on to Stoke Leeds, and the stats are actually very pleasant here, in that we had 32 backwards passes, we had 75 sideways passes, and we had 126 forwards passes. So,
they're lovely stats then, really.
If anything, I read that and I think that, I'm just doing it quickly, 201 passes were forward out of 233.
Yeah.
So 201 out of 233 passes sideways or forward I actually consider quite successful, because it means just over 75%, maybe a bit higher, were forward. I really need to do me sums there properly, but I'm thinking as well, that's with 29% possession of the ball in that game. So supposing we had actually kept the ball a little bit more, say got closer to 40, would we have had more forward and sideways passes, or would we have kept the ball more backwards? It's just interesting in the sense of what Jones is trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Leeds game they were really good stats, and I think it is worth looking at. For those who are listening in as well. I think it's just good for you just listen to them and just see how we are changing, and especially with the Leeds game.
Yeah, if anything, after the Brentford game, I was really despondent, and the stats were really much the hammer I was trying to hammer into the team, unfortunately. So when I said I was going to revisit them for this one, it was with hope rather than despair, and I'm glad that the hope came off because...
I mean, really, you were just doing the Rowett versus Jones, weren't you, really?
Yeah, initially, if anything, it seemed like there was no change from Rowett, which is what confused me. So, if you compare the two stats from Rowett's last game to the Leeds game, there is actually a little bit of difference. Nothing too drastic, but still enough to make you think Jones has had an impact now. And I know people would say the Brentford game he didn't have enough time, but I still argue there should have been at least a little bit more oomph from them.
Yeah.
But we did get the reaction at last in Leeds versus Leeds.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I did make a comment on Twitter where I said, for the Leeds game, we were actually playing as a team and not as 11 individuals.
I think it also helped that we had a shape that the team liked. I mean, I think the three at the back helped in the sense that you got three centre-halves who weren't feeling that comfortable working together, actually being told, right, we're going to add an extra man in there, help you out. And I think they reacted to it, because I think if you ask those who were at the game, Shawcross, Williams and Martin Cindy were probably the men of the match in some regards, and that any time the ball went into the box, they were there.
Yeah, I mean, even Ryan... he seemed to have a good match. His name kept popping up. And Liam Lawrence said what a difference, 2 weeks can make.
And there was an interesting thing on Twitter after the game where people were saying, considering Jones admitted that he changed the shape essentially to fool Marcelo Bielsa in Leeds, should we go back to the diamond he was trying before with the four at the back, or should we stick with the 5-3-2 we had against Leeds?
Well, personally, I would keep to the 5-3-2 for the time being and see how he goes. And if he doesn't like it at half time against Preston, then tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of in agreement there because when I saw that question, I did actually I'd switch back to the diamond, but what I added a little caveat on the comments saying, if it's essential we play the diamond to play Jones's way, then go back to it. But if it's more of a philosophy that the shape just happens to help, then stick with the 5-3-2 because the players responded to that without as much training, if you know what I mean. So
I always say if you've got a winning formula, stick to it.
Yeah, and I can understand sticking with it. So if I see a 5-3-2 on Saturday, I won't be complaining.
No.
I
won't myself.
But wouldn't if the diamond returned. It's all about what suits the players in the long run best.
Well, they've had a full week's training. They haven't had to have any FA Cups or no interruptions. So they've had a full week of training. And hopefully they've got where they want to be in the positions now.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to the 4, I'd like to think now that we've had enough time to sort of assess the players, look at who can play in the 4 well, who can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite noticeable that Cuco Martin has not been in the match day 18 since Jones came in.
No.
So you'd like to think that means he's probably going back to Everton sometime soon.
And I must say, just by listening to it on Saturday, I didn't think Bauer did too bad.
I think he did better than he did against Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
I think that game he was still rusty from his exodus.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take him a couple of games to get up to match fitness anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, by all accounts.
Campbell, he had to go off because he got cramp, was it, or
whatever. You were laughing your head off at Liam Lawrence there, weren't you?
Yeah.
He was calling Campbell a dear, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, the poor dear. He's got cramp. Oh, dear.
Oh, bless him.
You said he'd ruined his hard man image, and I thought, trust me, around here, only Rob Huth is up there with hard man image. I think Liam's pretty safe. But yeah, that was just an interesting insight into our Saturday afternoons. But yeah, I think there were a lot of positives in that sense. I mean, it's actually quite interesting to see what happens against Preston now, because they've set a bar now, and if they don't at least match the bar, then the fans will be upset.
Oh, definitely. Well, if you'd like to listen to Mother's stats now.
Of course, let's move on to Preston.
Yeah, interesting. They've won 8, drawn 9 and lost 11. They're currently in 18th. I thought they were doing a lot better than that, but obviously not. The top scorers, both on 9, are Callum Robinson and Alan Brown. These are definitely the ones that Ryan and co have got to watch out for, because they are on the ball as such,
Well, my understanding of Alan Brown is a goal-scoring midfielder, or at least he starts in midfield. I don't know if he plays slightly further forward. But if I'm right, Callum Robertson plays out wide, I think. I haven't heard him starting up front, so maybe I'm just out of touch there as far as Preston goes. But yeah.
But you've also got, I'm going to try this one, folks, so watch out. Tom Barkusen. Barkusen. Yay!
Yeah,
I like that one.
You weren't that far off, I don't think.
Yeah, he's on 6, so he's another one to watch out for. Now, the yellow cards, they've got 28. And red, they've got 4. And 2 of them were to Pearson. So...
Now, the irony is, Pearson's probably their best player.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wouldn't say it's a sign he's quick to anger or anything. I think it might just be that he's had a few unlucky instants, maybe. But it's interesting, because we were interested in the summer. I brought this up in the first game as well. And I think there's still a lingering interest from the likes of Cartwright, because, I think we keep looking at certain players. It's like how this week the Jonas Knudsen link came up again. It makes you wonder, is it the likes of Cartwright who have gone after these deals and maybe in the summer Rowett vetoed them? Or is it just that someone's peddling an old horse as far as rumours go? But as far as the Pearson link goes, I would like that to resurface, because he does seem a neat and tidy footballer. And even though Charlie Adam did well against Shrewsbury and Leeds, I don't think it's good of the club to pin the hopes on him for another 18 months.
No, well, it won't last that long this season, because he'll get booked every match and he'll be on a 3-match suspension anyway.
I would actually like if anyone in the comments could tell me, when was the last time Charlie Adam played a game? I'll even include under 23 games in this. When was the last time he played a game and didn't get a booking? Because I don't actually know, and I'd love to know that stat. You can sort of bet your horse on it that he'll get a booking maybe by the 60th minute. If he doesn't, then he's been tardy.
Well, I always say I'll give him 20 minutes and he'll get his rag off and get booked.
It was about the 60-minute mark against Leeds, so he did leave it late.
Yeah. Oh, because he couldn't get the ball off him.
Probably.
So anyway, going on to Preston and the game, I just think they've got it in their mind that they've beat us once, well, they've drawn against us once, and they can go one better.
Yeah, I mean, in that game they were slightly better than us. I mean, at the time I felt it was a good point, and I still do, but equally we should have been beating them in terms of the quality we have. I mean, I think it's a case of this season sort of smudged what quality can be, because people have said to me when I've been doing this and when the vlogs have come out, they've said, I think we'll have a good performance against Stoke, but the Premier League quality might show. And a few times I've heard that and I've thought, well, it hasn't shone for most of this season, so you can't really pin your hopes on it as a Stoke supporter.
Yeah.
And I think at the time that's what I thought, that the Premier League quality we have should have beaten Preston in that game.
Oh, I definitely thought so.
But I think in hindsight, I think it was a good point in the sense that it was a tough game considering how we've played so far.
I think it's the same old though with Stoke, that like in the Prem, against Man United, Man City, Chelsea and all them, they'd play their hearts out and they'd have a good game.
Yeah.
Play somebody in the bottom three and they'd think, oh, can beat these. And we'd lose.
Now that is something that really needs rooting out. And it's where I am looking for the same level of performance against Preston, because I think, yes, you could argue Leeds was just an example of what Nathan Jones could do as a manager, what he can bring out of this current squad. But equally, if we can't at least match the level of performance, if I don't see similar stats against Preston, I'm going to be concerned, because I'll be thinking, why can you do it against Leeds but you can't do it against them?
Yeah.
If anything, I want to see improvements, because I'm not being disrespectful to Preston, because especially at the start of the season I thought you'd be doing much better than you are. And I do have respect for them as a team. I like what Alex Neil's done. Yet I think to myself, just based on league position, we should at least be trying to dominate the game. Even if possession doesn't dictate that. Even if it's, say, more closer to 50-50 than, maybe the Rowett days of 75-25 where we do nothing with it, you'd like to think that we'd at least have more shots or more forward passes, at least show intent.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't see that, if Preston get too much of the ball, I think it's going to be a concern.
Yeah. I mean, I think I said before when we played them that I've got family up there, the Parrys, who are season ticket holders, and I've been since they moved up to Preston. And I've got nothing against them personally. I just look how they've gone on every match, to see how my cousins are bearing up to it all.
Yeah.
But obviously, I want us to win.
Yeah.
I mean, they're nothing to me other than me cousins support them.
There's someone to look at.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm expecting a good match against them. And I think if we can go in there and be awake from the kick-off, we'll have a good chance. It's when we are asleep until the 18th, 20th minute that, they get the better of us. And we can't let this happen against Preston.
Well, I'd like to think that we've got Tyrese Campbell starting again. I'd like to think we have anyway. And that he can lead from the front in that way. He can basically say, right, I'm going to press the ball at the back line. I'm going to try and win it at the front. If I don't win it at the front, then you guys in midfield, I want you to try and win it in the midfield.
Yeah.
And then if we can't win it there, let's get steady at the back and make sure they don't score.
Yeah.
You'd like to think that would be sort of a starting philosophy in terms of defending.
Yeah.
And then if we actually do have the ball to begin with, you'd like to think that we just play fast. We don't try and build up slow, play neat 1-2s, pass around the back full. Just try and get it forward and do something.
Yeah.
It sounds very Stoke saying that, and it's very awkward saying it as well, because I'm not against passing around from the back per se, but there always has to be a purpose at the end, and I think that's what we didn't have under Rowett. It's as if we never knew what the end product should be, and hopefully we're finally learning what it is.
Well, I'm hoping that Jones has noticed this while he's had the 2 games with us, that they are slow starters, and I just hope he can whip them into shape.
Yes, it's got to be
saying, you go out from the whistle and you start playing.
Sorry to interrupt, but I was just thinking the 2 games at home that Jones has had, we have actually had good starts.
Yeah.
So that is promising, that he seems to have got it straight away pretty much, that we start with intensity.
Whereas Rowett actually didn't give a monkeys about noticing it.
I'll put it like this, I wouldn't say he didn't give a monkeys, he always brought it up in his press conferences, but he just didn't have an answer for it. So, I think that's the difference. You'd like to think Jones has finally worked it out, but we've got 2 out of 3 games to sort of judge him on there, so let's get a larger sample size before we actually decree it. But it's promising.
Well, my faith in Jones is going up by every game that we play. Okay, we lost against Shrewsbury, but I'm sorry, I'm not interested in the cup.
At least not right now.
Not at the minute, no. All I'm interested in is not going further down the table than what we were sliding towards. And I just want to go up the table again. And I think Jones is the man that can take us there.
Well, just going away from Stoke for a second, I do hope that Preston sort of have a good end to the season. I know that might sound strange when we've just been talking about not actually having affiliations as such, but I go back to actually their squad, and there are a lot of players in there that I feel could have done better this season. I mean, I look at Louis Moult, obviously an ex-Stoke player, and I think, I had high hopes for him when he moved to Preston. I thought that he would have maybe continued a bit of the form he had at Motherwell, and I don't know if it's a lack of chances or a lack of form, but he just hasn't shone for them, and I just don't like the idea of him actually not succeeding there, because I think Preston would be his big chance, and I think if he misses it there, he'd either have to go back to Scotland or go down the leagues, and it's a shame because by all accounts Louis is a very nice man, as far as he's a family man. He's worked hard to try and get back to Championship level, so I don't know exactly what his story is right now, but I just hope he's one of those who do push on a little bit, because there's a good group there. I mean, I look at some of the names and they strike me as young, hungry players, and they did back in the game in the first place, with the likes of just how they were pressing us that day. So I really hope they have a good end to the season, and it's very rare I will actually encourage an opposition team after this to push on, but if there's one team who I would be happy to see hopefully follow us up the league, it would be them, because there are certain teams who I'm happy, staying below us. There are ones that, I wouldn't mind following up with us.
I've got nothing against Preston, and I certainly don't want them to go down to League One.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'd go that far myself, but, you never know. So, I hope you have a good end to the season, Preston fans. Anyway, we're just moving on to predictions. What are you thinking?
2-1 to Stoke, obviously.
2-1. I'm going to go.
Oh, can I just... sorry, I know you just going to go, but can I just add Pugster?
Regular commenter.
You little devil, you. I did me 5-1 on purpose.
Yeah, you got a bit of stick on Twitter for it,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I did.
I'm going to say, we'll come back to that in another video maybe, but just...
Your prediction.
Yeah, I'll stick at 3-0. I'm going to hope that Viva la Jones Revolution.
Mother nearly swore then.
Yeah, I'm going to hope that the Leeds game was the start of something new, and I'm hoping that is just the first of many good results. So
right, I'll let you finish on the bad news that's been going around now.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's aware. Emiliano Sala, I don't mispronounce his name. He's apparently lost at sea. I say that in the sense that it's at the time of recording, it's become a salvage operation rather than a rescue. So the thoughts are with the family and the immediate people in his life. It's very sad news. I mean, we heard about it early on Tuesday, should I say, and yeah, I'd heard his name in the news just passing by. They'd be joining Cardiff, and yeah, it's a very sad story as far as, we've been talking about between us, and it's a sad story to try and rationalise, so
yeah, my condolences with his family, friends and everybody who's associated with him. It's bad news, and it's just awful to go like that.
So we're going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope to see you in the next episode. Bye for now, everyone.
Okay, bye folks. Have a good week.